Reproduction is a biological process by which new individual organisms are produced from their parents. Reproduction is a fundamental feature of all known life, that is, each individual organism exists as a result of reproduction. Why is reproduction necessary for an organism? Reproduction is necessary because it is required for the survival and increase in the population of a species. If organisms do not reproduce, their population decreases and thus the species will become extinct. The process of reproduction ensures that a plant or animal species do not disappear from the earth. Hence, reproduction is very important in maintaining stability in the ecosystem and for the continuation of life on earth. Reproduction is essentially a phenomenon that is not for survival of an individual, but it is important for the survival of an organism in species level of classification. All organisms require energy for their survival and also for their growth. This energy is obtained from various life processes such as nutrition, circulation, respiration, etc. Thus, these phenomena are essential for the living of an individual. Compared to these life processes, reproduction may appear to be a waste of energy as it is not essential for survival of an organism. But reproduction is an important function of a living being as it helps in production of new individual of its own kind. Reproduction ensures the transfer of genetic material from one generation to the next generation. The reproducing organisms produce new individuals that look very much like themselves. They create copies of themselves by reproduction process. Organisms look similar because their body designs are similar. If body designs are to be similar, the blueprints for these designs need to be similar. DNA is called the blueprint of life because it contains and shares the information and instructions needed for an organism's growth, development, survival. The process of reproduction involves making copies of blueprints of body design, which is otherwise called DNA copying, or in other words, DNA replication. Basic event in reproduction is DNA copying. DNA is found in the chromosomes, which is present in the nucleus of a cell. The proteins of DNA carry the information. If changes occur in the proteins, the information gets altered. A child inherits two copies of DNA, one from the mother and the other from the father. This is the reason why offspring look similar to their parents and also inherit similar kinds of mannerisms that of their parents. So, DNA copying is an important phenomenon through which characters are passed over generations. The process of DNA copying will have some variations each time. As a result, DNA copies generated in the cellular apparatus will be similar, but may not be identical to the original. DNA copying during reproduction is important for maintaining the body designs of different organisms to survive in the existing environment. But the environment is constantly changing due to the changes in temperature, climate, water levels, etc. If organisms cannot adjust themselves to the changes in the environment, then its species will become extinct. For example, though all human beings belong to the same species, no two individuals are exactly alike. Even identical twins have slight differences in their DNA because of the small variations that occur during DNA copying. This feature results in the variation, which supports the survival rate of an organism. If there are variations in some individuals of a species, they may be able to survive the changes in the environment. For example, if the temperature of water increases suddenly by the inflow of factory waste, chemicals, then most of the bacteria living in the water would die. Only a few variants that are resistant to the heat would be able to survive. However, if these variants were not there, then the entire population of bacteria would have been destroyed. Thus, variance helps in the survival of the species. So, variations in species is necessary for the survival of different species and for the evolution of new species.